So I guess that was probably the most boring section we had on how to navigate the file system, right? I hope you have a good idea now of if I put you somewhere in the file system, you won't be lost. You can find your way to wherever you need to be. And if you're comfortable with doing that, you should be fine. That's about most of the tasks that you'll be using the shell for is just to navigate the directory. But you still don't know how to add things to the directories, to the file system, and how to remove things from it. How to make a directory, for example, how to make a file, for example. And so we need to be able to do that. For doing this, let's navigate to our data HPC directory. And where is data HPC sitting?
In our username.
In our username, which is our home directory. So how do I go to that directory? Yes?
CD/HPC. C/data HPC.
CD/data HPC. Nope. And why is that not working? Because the slash is an absolute file path, so it's going to start looking from the root directory, and under the root directory it's going to look for a directory called data HPC. It doesn't find it. One way to do this is to say cd/home/your username /data HPC, and that will always take you to data HPC, no matter where you are. And cd /data HPC will do exactly the same thing. Remember, tilde just stands for /home/your username. And so these two commands are really exactly the same thing. Yes?
I'm going to cd/home/my username, but it says no such file or directory exists.
Can someone help? All right. So we're here now, and we want to make a directory here. Okay. If you look at the contents of this directory, here's what it is, and we want to start making this a directory here, and we want to call this directory our thesis because we're going to pretend that we're writing a thesis today. How many of you can make a directory from the Unix command line? Okay, raise your hands up high. That's a significant fraction of you. All right, good. So the command to make a directory is this mkdir. And of course, by itself, it has no idea what to do. You have to provide it with the name of a directory that you want to create. And so we're going to create a directory called thesis. Sorry. And that shows you absolutely nothing, right? No new information. How do I confirm that the thesis directory was created?
LS.
All right, ls, and you see it there. It's a new directory called thesis. I want to start working from within the thesis directory, so I will do cd thesis. And then from within the thesis directory, if I type in ls, it's obviously empty, right? There's nothing here. So here's where things get interesting. We want to start writing our thesis, and because we are very old-fashioned, we're going to do this in a text file, right? So a .txt file. I want to, within my thesis directory, I want to create a file called thesis.txt. Now, how many of you can do this? Again. All right. Let's go back to our own systems here. Let's go back to oh man, I remember having so much trouble doing this last time. So here I am. This is my computer, my local machine, right? And in my local machine, I'm in my home directory here. Okay, this is what it looks like. I want to create a file here called thesis.txt. How am I going to do this? You won't believe how much trouble I had last time. Okay, anyway, yeah. Really? Vim? No, I have a graphical interface here.
You're right click and
Okay, right click, all right.
new folder.
I want to create a file called thesis.txt. Not a folder, but a file. Come on, guys. If I gave you a Mac and asked you to create a file called thesis.txt, how many of you could do this? All right, so guide me. How do I do this?
Use notes.
Use a what?
Use notes.
Use notes? No, I don't want to do that.
Or text edit. Text edit.
Okay, so I go to, let's see. I'm going to click on my launcher. I guess that's what it's called. And I'm going to look for the text edit program, and it brings this up. I guess I could say file new, and start writing my thesis. All right, and then I hit file, save, and then I do one in my home directory, and I want to call it thesis.txt, right? You cannot say, really?
Go cancel and change the rich text formatting. The last name.
Max from like text files.
Well, I guess it's a setting.
All right, fine, I'll deal with it. So apparently it's an RTF file, not a TXT file. Okay, so you get the picture. To actually create a text file on a graphical interface, you need some kind of graphical text editor, unless you already know how to use a shell. But here we are. Unfortunately, this is our environment, right? We're in this window here, and this is all we can access. So if we want to create a file here, we need to be able to run a text editor that actually runs within this environment, within the shell. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of these. There are text editors that work entirely within the terminal window. And how many of you are aware of a few of these? Again, raise your hands up high so I know. All right. The simplest text editor that you can run from within the window here is called Nano. And again, if you're comfortable with something else, feel free to use it. But Nano is probably the simplest one we have on the Palmetto cluster. And Nano is installed on all systems by default. So Nano is a text editor, and we're going to create a file called thesis.txt with it. Okay, and you see that opens up a rather ugly text editor, but it's actually much more useful than TextEdit because it tells you a whole bunch of things. It tells you how to exit, for example. It says #X, and the # character just is short for your control key. And not your command key for Mac users, your control key. So if you want to exit Nano, you just hit Control X, and that will take you out. Unless you started typing in for some reason. So anyway, this is a text editor. You can use it like any other text editor, but remember that your mouse will not work from inside it. So after you've typed in a few words, you can hit Control X to exit Nano. And when you do that, it will ask you, do you want to save this file? Save modified buffer. It says answering no will destroy changes. You'll just type in the Y key, Y for yes. And when you do that, it says you wanted to call this file thesis.txt. Do you still want to call it that? You will just hit enter. Okay, so let me do that again. You open up Nano, make some changes to your file, hit Control X, type in Y for yes, and then hit enter. And when you do that, thesis.txt actually is saved. And that's significantly easier than TextEdit in my opinion. Anyway, so we know that thesis.txt has some contents. We can just spit out the contents of a text file using the command cat. So cat thesis.txt will actually just print out the contents of thesis.txt.